Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, one and all. I'm Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor. Today, sitting in the studio wearing my Caps jersey, celebrating their victory, my OV jersey, because that's how I roll, their victory last night over the Canadians. Much congratulations to the Capitals, now advancing to the next round of the playoffs against the Carolina Hurricanes. Sitting with me, always love spending time with her. We work together. We don't get to spend enough time together. Her name is Mercedes Schlapp. Good morning, Mercy. Hello. Happy May Day.
Good morning, Andrew. Well, I mean, I'm only thinking about Larry and his beautiful daughter.
Yes.
The wedding's happening in 3 days. So
Wow.
It's just so... I just kept telling Larry, I'm like, Larry, just keep it together. Hold it together, but it's okay to cry. It's totally okay to cry.
I have told both my girls, please elope. I mean, listen. Have to do whatever.
Come on. Are you kidding me? You got to walk them down the aisle.
I'll
That's
walk
like
them down the aisle. You know something? But I don't want anything. Listen, I'm happy to support, buying houses, but not the major. If they want a destination wedding where there's a handful of people, anyway, I'm
all in for that.
I'm all in
good.
for that. It is, by the way, it's 8:08 here on WMAL News Talk 105.9. We are making sense of the news. And listen, we got all kinds of things to cover in this hour. It's the National Day of Prayer. We've got all kinds of things, as I said. But she's back. I know you missed her, Mercy.
No, please. Don't tell me she's back.
I know you missed her. I just in the same way, I know you're a huge Neil Young fan, and he disappointed you. Kamala Harris is back. We all have our speculation as to what she's doing next, but she's spoke
back. She's emerged. Did you see the signage in the back? It says emerge.
Like a cicada.
What the heck is that?
Like a cicada. Emerging. We're right on the season again. The 17-year appearance of Kamala Harris.
Like a butterfly.
Yes. So she was at a gala in San Francisco. I think this is a good indication as to where she's going. Let's go ahead and play cut number 30.
In fact, please allow me, friends, to digress for a moment. Okay. It's kind of dark in here, but I'm asking for a show of hands. Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago, the one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my.
Google it if you've not seen it.
This is on her mind.
So that scene has been on my mind.
Oh, I see where she's going.
Everybody's asking me, what you've been thinking about these days? Well...
Okay, by the way, did you see this video, Mercy? Do you know what she's talking about?
No, I have not. But she's so not funny. That's the problem.
Right.
It's like there's no humor to it.
And
right?
it's like the way she needs to go. Let me explain. So there was an earthquake in San Diego a couple of weeks ago. And there's a really great video of moments before the earthquake happens because animals, I don't know if you know this, Mercy, animals can sense earthquakes before they happen. Did you know this? And
no, I
so
didn't know this.
they do. They
You're
can
so much
sense
smarter
them.
than I am.
Listen, it's Critter
going.
Corner. It's all the years listening to Critter Corner here on O'Connor and Company.
That is true.
And but these elephants, they knew the earthquake was coming, so they circled around a baby elephant. It was actually kind of cool. And I get what she's trying to go for here, except she can't nail the metaphor, which, by the way, is a bad metaphor because, of course, Republicans are elephants and Democrats are donkeys, and so this is just very, very strange, but. So she goes on, and we don't know what she's being fueled by. She's near Napa Valley. I'm not going to say that maybe that might play some role in her cadence here, but nevertheless, here she is. She starts to get into the meat. The meat, Mercy.
The meat.
Let's play cut number 30.
Throughout my entire career in life, I have always believed in the ideals of our nation. The ideals reflected in the Declaration of Independence, that all are created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, boy.
All right, but here's what I don't get, Mercy. Maybe you can answer this question for me. I thought that America was founded on racist principles by racist founders, and that therefore we shouldn't be quoting a document like the Declaration of Independence written by slave owner Thomas Jefferson. Sorry, go ahead.
Who shreds the Constitution on a daily basis? It's the Democrats. It's the these liberal judges. I mean, give me a break. This is exactly where Kamala gets it wrong again. I mean, they criticize the Constitution. They constantly, they constantly want to change it. It's their quote unquote living, breathing document. This is how these guys function.
Absolutely. They want to wreck these things and then rebuild in their own image. This I love because, again, we were talking about the contrast between, and I played this on the air yesterday, the contrast between Donald Trump's first 100-day speech and Joe Biden's. Well, now here's Kamala Harris's commentary in the first 100 days. Let's go ahead and play cut 31, Michael.
American people deserve leaders who make their lives better and make our country stronger. But sadly, we have seen quite the opposite over these past few months. Now, I know tonight's event happens to coincide with the 100 days after the inauguration, and I'll leave it to others to give a full accounting
all right.
of what has happened so far.
Okay, hold on one second. Because it's just coincidental that she's giving that speech. Let me sort of set the metrics on America Stronger. We have solved the border crisis, which your administration and your predecessor, your partner in the administration, claimed he couldn't do. You claimed couldn't be done, that Republicans were standing in the way. Military recruiting is up. We just signed a deal yesterday with Ukraine on mineral rights, so we can now move forward with fully defending them. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where America's weaker. I'm sorry, Mercy, go right ahead.
Well, let's think about this for a second. It was the 100 days of Donald Trump, and the person that the Democrats roll out there is Kamala Harris, the loser? Seriously? I mean, I think this shows that there's such a greater problem with the party in and of itself that she's still viewed as kind of a bit of the front runner in battling Donald Trump, where she was defeated, embarrassingly defeated. At the polls. Like, no one is listening to Kamala Harris. Let's be serious. Isn't
it interesting that she wasn't invited into that Democratic response, the Democratic governor's response, the Tim Walz, right? Tim Walz said, did you see this? Mara Healey from Massachusetts and Tim Walz and J.B. Pritzker and a couple of others, they did their 100-day response, which was just crazy go nuts. So here we go. Let's jump down here, Michael, to talking about the tariff issues. Let's play cut number 33.
So here's one of the other things I wanted to talk about tonight and to highlight. So look, some people are describing what's been happening in recent months as absolute chaos. And of course, I understand why. And it's certainly true of those tariffs. Tariffs that, as I predicted, are clearly inviting a recession.
As she predicted. Time out for a second. You know why she predicted it? Because that's what they did. They maintained Donald Trump's tariffs, jacked up regulatory costs, made all kinds of business uncertainty, and guess what? They tipped the economy over. They caused massive inflation. So you predicted, but I guess you were before tariffs, before you were against them. We're going to come back to this, Mercy, because I want to get your thoughts on this. We're going to get into Tim Walz, and Tim Walz being the human embodiment of Fozzie Bear. But first, it's 8:15 a.m.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
So, they trotted Kamala out last night. She talked about elephants. She said she predicted economic chaos. By the way, also neglecting that any kind of economic gains that they did have were all because of government spending, which we can't afford, right, Mercy? I mean, so this is part of the lies. Please.
And government spending under the fact that with President Biden, federal spending ballooned 57%. Think about that.
Yes.
Andrew, you study this stuff.
I do.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And the trade deficit also surged over 87% under Joe Biden.
Yes.
I mean, let's talk about the real numbers here. And then all the federal spending turbocharged inflation, which impacted everyday Americans. So for her, I mean, how dare she talk about the economy when they themselves just tried to spend their way out of this, and of course raising all these prices that impact families.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. So we got this here. Oh, yeah. So I want to jump down because Tim Walz. Now, I'm going to tell you all this. You can do this all. I asked on the air yesterday. I did this. I tweeted this out this morning. If you go to any AI image generator and you plug in, make a human version of a worried Fozzie Bear from the Muppets, it is going to spit out a picture of Tim Walz. I promise you this. I did this myself. So Tim Walz was up at Harvard, and he is throwing
Harvard? Are you kidding me?
Harvard,
no
yes.
Way.
Park your card.
Rich.
Harvard Yard.
It's too rich.
So Tim Walz was up at Harvard. But by the way, also, anyway, Harvard, I guess he can go there now. His daughter will let him because Harvard is fighting back against Trump. Let's go ahead and play cut number 25.
To improve people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And you look across those swing states, with the exception of Minnesota, we didn't get enough of those votes.
Yeah, you did a heck of a job there, Waltzy, to paraphrase George W. Bush to Brown. You did a heck of a job there, Waltzy. He gave them permission, Mercy. He gave them permission, which is, again, the insane way that Democrats look at the world, isn't it?
It's so disgusting, and the mere fact is Tim Walz saying that Harris chose him for VP to code talk to white guys. Well, Andrew, who talks like that? Who which political strategist thinks that this is a good idea?
Democrats do, but this is what we knew this, right?
You're a white guy, so you talk to the white guy. What the heck is that?
Well, that's again, as we get down to the identity politics of the situation. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. But we knew this, right? I mean, Tim Walz was out there. He was the guy who could supposedly talk to gun owners because he was the best shot in Congress, so he couldn't figure out how to load his shotgun. He spends more time in China. He and Neil Young ought to talk about the clean car thing and China, to say the least. I think they would have a tremendous amount to talk about. But, yeah, this is – oh, my goodness. Let me go back to this because Kamala had this gem in her speech. Let's go ahead and, Michael, and play cut number 34. No worries.
Where a vessel is being used for the swift implementation of an agenda that has been decades in the making. An agenda to slash public education. An agenda to shrink government and then privatize its services. All while giving tax breaks to the wealthiest among us. By the way, an agenda that is not lowering costs, not making life more affordable.
All right, we get into there. Except that it is. I mean, that's the reality. You had I mentioned the governor of Massachusetts, Mercy, who is claiming that egg prices are still at $6 a dozen and that Donald Trump lied in his speech. I went and checked. I mean, I do all the shopping at home. I do most of the cooking at home. I do all the shopping.
You do the cooking and the shopping?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
wow.
But it's the division of labor. I don't know about anywhere else. I know egg prices are still up because of the Biden administration. Right? Mm-hmm. When you kill 100 million chickens, it has an impact on egg prices. Right. And so. But they're not at $6 a gallon. $6 a dozen. I know one of the places I shop at in Alexandria, they're $4.50, which is still high, but nevertheless, I mean this is just crazy talk from her. And by the way, this old trope that there is somehow a relationship between spending per pupil on education, or we know that there's an inverse relationship between government involvement in education and educational performance, but these are the Democratic tropes, aren't they, Mercy? No,
that is exactly it. And look, I just think that this is the problem. At this point, you're starting to see, and even Tim Walz is talking about it. They're trying to find their way of communicating. So Tim Walz said, now Gavin Newsom has a podcast. There's room for Bernie Sanders rallies. So they're trying to make this seem like these Democrats are going out and connecting with these voters. The only thing that they're doing is that they are rallying their crazy liberal base that is totally disconnected from reality. that completely believes that there's 60 genders, that, they totally do not agree with anything that's common sense or normal.
Right.
Normal's the key word
that
there. So
normal
this is what we're
and
dealing
common
with.
sense. This
Yes,
is the key
exactly.
moving forward, and they don't have that.
Exactly.
Listen, we got so much more to get to, especially talking about this cabinet meeting. It's 8:23 here on WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is 8:37 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Happy Thursday to one and all. Happy May Day, May 1st. Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor today alongside Mercedes Schlapp. Good morning, Mercedes.
It's been a great morning.
It's just flown by. I mean, that's why I
know totally. It's a great program when it's
Yes.
just going by quickly.
And after having gotten very little sleep after the Caps win last night, it was a joy to come in.
Ooh,
So listen,
you gotta be tired.
Oh yeah, believe me. So one of the things I love about the way that these guys are doing this second term, I mean, frankly, it was something they did in the first term, and you know this. You were in the communications world for Trump Part 1. Is doing things out in the open and doing these cabinet meetings out in the open. I think it's important for folks to see what is happening, to get the reports from the various cabinet members. And obviously, and I'm glad they're making light of stuff. Pete Hegseth has been embattled and opened up with this. Let's go ahead, Michael, and play cut number 40.
So with that, I think we're going to maybe go around, and we have some letters where the secretaries and people around the table are making statements about how they're doing and what's happening. And I could start with Pete on the left because he's my least controversial person. No, they don't know how good he is. So we'll go around the table and you can hear it. And these are cabinet meetings where they're very open and transparent. And I can guarantee you Biden didn't do this. He didn't do this. Go ahead, Pete.
Well, Mr. President, I think we're controversial.
All right, we can end it there. But he's right? They didn't do it in front of the cameras. As I said, we were talking about Biden's first 100 days. I mean, he did his 100-day speech in front of the cameras, but it was to a nearly empty congressional chamber where they were wearing masks. I mean, Mercy, your thoughts on this? It's good to do this stuff out in the open.
Well, this is how the president likes to do this, right? So President Trump, has had already, I believe, like 9 to 10, or about 4 or 5 cabinet meetings in the first 100 days. I think Joe Biden had like 9 in the 4 years. Like, you didn't even know who his cabinet members were. And here you have a very active, very politically and strong communicators, cabinet members, going out there and constantly driving the president's message and what they're accomplishing day in and day out. And so what happened during the first administration, President Trump, and I think he himself mentioned it, he was like just trying to survive because you had the Russian hoax, you had the FBI going after him from day one.
Right.
You had the fact that the Democrats were moving quickly to impeach him. And it was a constant battle against the media, against the Democrats, while he was still accomplishing a lot. I mean, taking down the unemployment rate to about 3.5% in the first term, with a strong economy until, of course, COVID hit. This time around, it's such a different feel to the point that they are just bulldozing. They are just moving forward aggressively. They know that time is not on their side because they have 4 years to get a lot done, and they have a very qualified and experienced cabinet.
Well, this is the issue, actually, because you and I haven't talked about this. As we talk about the first 100 days, we're talking about the cabinet meeting. Republicans have a nasty tendency to negotiate against ourselves and pre-negotiate things. Part of why we're doing this now and moving. And listen, you know me, I'm a deliberative guy. I like doing things in an ordered fashion, but even I understand the need for going down this road. This is why they're taking these bold steps on the regulatory front. And taking bold steps elsewhere. And I think at the end of the day, right, what Trump is counting on, and I'll ask you this, I think he's counting on the results speaking for themselves at the end of the day. And is everything going to be a winner? Probably not. But things are going to be better on balance than they were before, right? Is that what he's banking on, do you think?
I think he's banking on that sometimes he's going to have to make some tough choices. So, for example, on the issue of tariffs to help rebalance our trade relationships and make them better in the long run. I think he's banking on the fact that we have to protect the American people, and he successfully did that in his first 100 days and stopping the flow of illegal immigration. But now he's dealing with the issue of the interior deportations, which we know you're talking about 10 million people that came through when Joe Biden was president. I mean, seriously, Andrew? I mean, it is literally mopping the floors, cleaning the windows, getting the house back in order, and it's going to take time, and it's going to be painful at times. And I think the president has effectively delivered that message, because you even see these focus groups and they're all saying, yeah, okay, on the economic front, we want to see more progress, but we stand firm with Trump. And that is what you're constantly seeing right now. The question will be, as you get to the end of the year, if the cost of living is not down substantially, if the economic conditions are not where they need to be, that's going to start worrying Republicans as we go into the midterm elections. We cannot afford to lose the House, cannot afford to lose the Senate, because then if we lose the House, that's when it all starts. The investigations, the articles of impeachment. I mean, it will be a tough battle that Trump will enter. Well,
again, this gets into why the regulatory component of this is so important, because at the end of the day, if you can encourage small businesses by not massively raising their regulatory costs, if you can encourage big businesses by not massively raising their regulatory costs, if you give people the choices that they want out there in terms of their products that they're going to be using in their houses, this is going to deliver for them. It's what set Donald Trump's use of tariffs apart from Joe Biden's. Oh, and of course, Mercy, we cannot ignore the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Listen, we're going to continue to talk more about this. We're also going to talk about the National Day of Prayer. But first, it's 8:43 on WMAL.
WMAL, making sense of the vote, because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Mercy, one of the criticisms of the Trump administration was that they were separating families. The concerns about the last Trump administration, the current Trump administration, is that they're separating migrant parents from their kids. So it would surprise you, I think, to learn that the Biden administration lost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of kids by separating them from families, the unaccompanied. Would this surprise you?
No, and I think, this is an issue for CPAC, that we have our CPAC Center for Combating Human Trafficking.
Oh, yes.
So being able to hear what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had to say, and we can go to Cut 42 on his latest on what they were able to do in terms of stopping child trafficking.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
So the Office of the Inspector General at Department of Homeland Security confirmed Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley's concerns about the abuse of this process. The Unaccompanied Children Program administered by DHS and HHS, most importantly HHS, they failed to enroll over 233,000 migrant children, and of those enrolled, 43,000 children failed to appear. So almost 300,000 kids lost in this. There's got to be some kind of accountability, Mercy. Shouldn't there be? There has to be.
100%. And the mere fact is that we haven't seen, I know that this administration's working very hard to find these children. It is one of the things that they've been doing. But think about it. What would happen in so many times is, as they were quickly processing these unaccompanied minors, in many cases, and we had one whistleblower coming out basically saying they would call over to, quote unquote, the sponsor, and many times it was the same phone number for a slew of kids. And so they lost track of these children. There was no follow-up of their welfare. There was no, where are these kids now? We have no idea where these children are.
Right.
And what we know is that most likely they were sex trafficked. I mean, how disgusting is that?
It is crazy and disheartening. And in point of fact, it points to the need for, there's a ham-handed segue, I'm going to do it anyway, to the National Day of Prayer, which is today. This is important stuff. I know you've been in touch with our good friend Jenny Korn over at the White House about this. What's going on with the National Day of Prayer?
Well, I think it's a very beautiful, incredible day today where you're going to see, and Jenny Korn is a deputy assistant to the president. She's worked with the president first 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
And now is working for the White House office, faith office. And she is like such a leader, her with Paula White. And they've organized this National Day of Prayer. President Trump is highlighting this important day. And the faith office, the White House faith office, is announcing this commission. And they have about 200 faith leaders from all different faiths that are joining together to promote religious freedom in the U.S. and be a symbol for the world. And there will be diverse prayers and representation from all different faiths. And I think what I love about what Jenny Korn and Paula White have been able to do is that they are bringing different folks all the time into the White House. There's prayer in the White House. There's conversations about the role of faith in politics, in
100%.
policy, which I think is much needed. We need that moral compass to be able to make these incredibly important decisions.
We need some kind of objective truth out there, and this is moving along those ways. Godspeed to Jenny Korn and Paula over at the White House for this. It's 8:52 here on WMAL. Listen, as always, it is great to sit down with Mercedes Schlapp on a glorious May day. Mercy, thank you so much for
I know.
sitting with
Happy
me today.
May 1st.
It flies
Happy
by.
National Day of Prayer.
Chris, I know you're disappointed. Neil Young has his sequel to Let's Roll. Have you not seen this?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
no.
Heather. Michael, you don't have that audio handy, do you? Oh, yeah. He hates Elon Musk. Shocker. Neil Young hates Elon Musk.
I can't believe that. Most heroin addicts do, I've discovered.
Yes.